Welcome to the JAMODI podcast, where we interview coaches and leaders to find out not just what they do, but how they do what they do. Becoming the best version of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. What's one quality you see in leaders that coaches need to cultivate in their own habits?
To be able to call each other out without bruising each other. Now, what I mean by call out is, coaches do it all the time when they see, players doing something that they either shouldn't be doing, or they could do it better, or they missed a read or something. Or maybe it's their effort, energy, I don't know. But the coach doesn't think anything about calling out the players, right? But I really do think in these times that we're in, you really got to work on a culture that allows you to call each other out on these things with an understanding that, hey, I'm trying to make you better. I value our relationship more than anything, and I don't want to bruise it. And some people can do it very well. Others, like me, we have to work on it. But I also think that players, of course, coaches could call out coaches, but players can call out coaches. Now, what I mean by that is, I'm not just on anything. I think it helps if you were to say, have a commitment statement before your season and sit down and say, look, this is what I promise to bring to practice every day. This is what I promise to do with perhaps each individual player. This is me. This is who I am. Lay it out there with the idea that if you don't meet up to it, your players, your other coaches can and should call you out. I just think it's really good for each other.
What a healthy environment and culture it is when players are able to, because I'm not just calling out, but asking questions where they feel like, without fear of getting, a negative response from their coach. But you're right. If a coach tells a team, this is how I'm going to show up every day, then there's a higher expectation for us to show up like that. But then players, there needs to be, teach them the appropriate way to hold. Because coach, that's not right. Coach, you're doing it wrong. Like, no. There has to be a correct way of doing that, right?
Oh yeah, and of course, leaders. You see this in natural leaders. They can bring it out in you. They can correct you, and you don't even know it until it's over with, and it's the next day, and you went, "Gee whiz, I guess he did kind of step on my toes," or she actually called me out, and I didn't realize it was just done in such a manner that I accepted it for what it was: good correction, good guidance, and again, I see natural leaders doing this and doing it well.
I think it's really important too for the coaching staff to have that type of dynamic. So I'm this is my 9th year as a head coach. So
Right.
I would still consider myself a young head coach. I just not a lot of experience, and I felt over the years a little bit of hesitancy towards and obviously not in front of my team, but even giving that feedback and correction to my coaching staff, whether they were older than me or younger than me. And so what advice do you have for coaches that do want to be able to lead because with players being an adult, they're teenagers, there's that natural dynamic of, I can correct you. And if you were brought up the right way, you'll handle it the right way. Right. But with coaching staff, what's some advice you have there?
Oh, I think honesty and openness is king. And as much as can be written down, I think the better. As an example, I think before you get into the calling each other out, the holding each other to a standard, there's got to be an agreement, a corporate agreement, players, coaches among themselves, that we're all on one track. Now, if you're not on this track, then don't sign this agreement, hop off. The one track is we're trying to get the absolute best out of all of us. And you know something? That means we've all got to grow, and that means it's going to be a little painful, and we've got to have a way of growing each other, which is going to be painful.
Yep.
Without bruising. And the reason I pick the word bruising, Matt, is bruises are marks that are left behind. I don't want marks left behind. All I want is a trail of improvement to show up.
That's great. I got to talk with Coach Drew a little bit about, and he said something about the way that him and his staff, they have such a unique relationship, is they are all equally trying to help each other, make each other grow. It's not Coach Drew up at the top just giving orders down and nobody can go up to him. They're all on the same playing field. And I think when you have that type of dynamic, and you see their culture of joy maybe even more through that with their coaching staff.
Oh, yeah. And I think you got to examine your language, like the ability for you to say, what's the solution here? Why should you always have it? Why not let them discover it? Maybe you know it, but you're going to guide them, let them discover it. We know it, like the Socratic method. And this just means giving up a little bit of ego.
Yeah.
In order to do it.
And full moment of transparency, because what we're talking about is, especially as head coaches, if you're new or if you've been doing this for a long time, is being humble and realizing that other people may know things that you don't. But it's easier said than, like, we want players to be coachable. We want players to be sponges. But then I found so when I started directing with PGC, and I got a little bit of a rhythm of my own. Chad Sanji came and evaluated me, and I expected for him not to have too many notes. I was a little bit arrogant with what I was doing, and it was like I was transported back in time to being a player again. And here's this guy telling me all of the ways that I can grow and improve. But man, like I was in the comfort zone. And it's a beautiful place where nothing grows. And I was very resistant to what he was saying, but like, great reminder for coaches we can never stop growing and we don't know everything.
Right. You said you were in your 9th year, right?
Right now. Yeah. Yeah.
Don Meyer said it'll take you 10 years to create your own coaching philosophy. Interesting, huh? Well,
I'm still on that path then. Still on that path.
You may be an exception.
No, I think he's right on the money. I think if we look back 5-10 years, if we're doing the same thing we were doing before, right. I think we have to always be evaluating the why behind everything we're doing. Sure.
Well, I just remember thinking, and it was a lot more longer than 10 years for me, maybe double that. That at first I'm coaching the way my coaches coach. I'm running practices the way my coaches ran practice. I never really even sat down and wondered why we did what we do. Why do we do a 5-man weave? How is that supposed to transfer to a game? Right.
I've never seen a team of 5 go like this and start running.
I've never seen that. I stopped drilling suicides because I was afraid my players would start to transition and touch the line, turn around and come back and give you, no, just kidding. But then I also, I found myself coaching my players as if my players were me. Like, this is how I would like to be coached. Well, times have changed, For me, it was like, hey, whatever the coach says goes, run through that wall, I run through that wall. I don't question this person knows more than me. They're the leader, they're running this, I follow, I learn, that's, there's just a different, so I had to change in terms of, okay, this is a new generation. And it's, by the way, which is always changing, from one year to the next. And I've just got to approach some things differently.
Yeah. I think we have to continue to meet kids where they are.
Yep.
And they're just not always going to be exactly where we want them to be, for sure.
No, you waste a lot of time trying to get them there.
Yeah.
When you just meet them where they're at, adapt, and go on.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.